I'm Swee. I'm 23.
Hi, I'm Sabrina. I'm a 35-year-old lesbian living in Singapore.
My name is Amanda. I'm 22 this year.
I recently graduated.
I told myself once that I'm forever 35 after 35, but I'm not. I'm Sabrina and I'm 38.
Right now I'm doing marketing.
I work in communications.
Busy as hell. Juggling work, juggling family, juggling the woman that I love.
In my department, I am out to my colleagues.
My passions are photography, travel.
And I have 4 cats.
And I love cats. I have 2 at home. They're called Shadow and Ola.
I sometimes feel like I have a responsibility to serve out my relationship with a woman as well and as long as I can. I feel like they would judge gay people by what they see of me. Like if I jumped in and out of relationships and I saw many women consecutively, they would make judgment on gay people based on what they know of me. Straight people get into relationships and they break up all the time, but the general feeling is, poor thing, learn from it. Get over it. If a gay person jumps in and out of relationships the same way as a straight person would do, there's this additional element of, it's a gay relationship, of course it won't last. So sometimes I feel like I have to compensate and just show and make a statement that our relationships are as true and as authentic and that they can last as well.
Oh yes, that was before I got into my first relationship. I must confess, I was a homophobe. I think I was like 13 years old. My only experience with people who are gay or lesbian, I never had a real experience with them, but the only thing I knew about them is that, they're sick, something is wrong with them. I must have picked it up somewhere, maybe from, people on the street, parents, or even kids. It's like my brother, he picks up stuff from school, like, when it's still being used, like, you want to scold a person and you call him 操儿瓜. And it's a very offensive thing, to gay and lesbian people, and it just assumes that someone who's gay is like bad.
I think when people look at you and they try to assess you, you start wondering about who you are, especially during the teenage years. You're definitely very confused because there are no guidelines. Relatives, make jibes at you and say, this is Auntie Sabrina here, it's not Auntie, it's actually a boy, or something. Wants to be a boy. Even as a child, I found that offensive and upsetting. So, yeah, definitely was a struggle. Yeah.
I first realized that I was gay, I suppose, when I got together with my first girlfriend. That was when I was 14 years old, 15 years old. It was when we took that step and it became physical that I realized that, I'm gay.
I was about 6 or 7, I guess, and she was about 13. She was actually the daughter of the lady who did our laundry. After school one day, I was hanging out with the daughter, and she took me to the bedroom, and before I knew it, she was going down on me. It was kind of a dank environment, so the smell of which didn't really sit too well in my memory. But yet at the same time, there was this new physical experience that was pleasurable.
It didn't hit me like, I just realized it one day. But I've always had very close friendships with women. I know a lot of butch women, and I'm always very comfortable with talking to them, hanging out with them, and it was never a problem to me, the whole sexuality thing. It was more finding the right person. I sort of experimented going out with men and it didn't work out. I was hoping at the right time to meet the right person. It didn't matter if the right person came female or male. Then increasingly I realized that my preference was for women.
I guess the real first moment when I knew I was lesbian was when I made an obvious choice. It was when I was 11 or 12, when she was 15, same school we were going at. And yeah, it was puppy love, you know, the first love. You experience all the adrenaline of your first kiss, love songs, all the love letters.
She met a very good friend in poly actually, Joe, who I think was the one that brought her into the whole lesbian scene. It was because of Joe that she went to Squirt, and it was because of Joe that she met Sylvia, you know, and it was because of Sylvia that, you know, she decided, okay, this is what she wants to do. This is how she feels. I think it's, you don't know what you're missing till you actually experience it. Probably because Amanda never really ventured into it, you know, until later on when she was with Joe.
You wouldn't know you like something if you didn't try everything else and then finally decide that I like this the best. If you're brought up and you're socialized as a girl or a guy to like the opposite sex, then it makes sense for you to have tried the opposite sex before deciding that, you know, you prefer what you want. I would think that if someone argues by saying, isn't it strange that homosexual can be capable of having a heterosexual relationship, then, you know, why would that make them homosexual? Then, I mean, I think that would be a very reasonable explanation.
I've dated guys. I think I had my first boyfriend when I was like in primary 6, and he was my neighbor, and every day we would just meet downstairs and like rollerblade and sit down. And then I had more boyfriends in Sec 1 and Sec 2. My relationships with boys never lasted very long. 2 of them lasted 1 month, 1 of them lasted 2 months, another one of them lasted 3 months, and that was like super long, you know, can't wait to break up type. And the reasons for me entering the relationship was always just for fun or just for a status thing. There was one relationship where I think that was like my first crush. We went out maybe 2 times, 3 times, and then eventually, I think after 2 months or something, I broke up with him. But that was because I felt very jealous and insecure because we were in different schools and stuff, and I was quite sad about that actually.
Well, there weren't relationships per se, because I never invested myself emotionally. I didn't feel like a connection, you know, so they were very brief affairs, if you would call it that. So I just realized it wasn't working out for me. After that, I didn't date anybody for quite a few years.
Well, I did like guys. I had crushes on them as early as about 12, 13 when I was in Sec 1. I was actually having a relationship with a Malay girl for about 2 years, and when I had this crush on this guy, she actually told me to, like, you know, go ahead and find out for myself, you know, and I did. The relationships with guys or the experiences with guys weren't too positive.
Yeah, I was through some of it. I didn't meet any of them though.
Did lah.
No, I didn't. I didn't meet Benny, I didn't meet anybody. I was against one of her most serious ones. Sort of screwed up our friendship for a while actually. And then she broke up with him, and everything was okay again. Wasn't good for her as well. See, best friends know best.
When I was born, yeah, Michelin Michelin man, alright. Yeah, my dad was really into photography, so he shot a lot of these black and white pictures of me. But these are actually reproductions. My mom got like the final lot of the pictures, because I moved a lot when I was a kid from relative to relative, so things get lost along the way. Me and my aunt, and next to my dad's Timothy, whom I often chased his girlfriends out of the front seat. Oh, mine, it's my seat. Yep, another perm, bad perm. For Auntie Nancy's wedding. It's probably about 9, and that's Mum, looking all share like.
This is one of my father and I. We used to be very close. That's me. We're not so close now, but I think recently he's mellowed a bit, so I think we're starting to talk to each other again. But I really like this picture. So these are all my classmates. They contributed pictures of themselves when they were tiny tots. And this is me as a tiny tot, as a cat, drawn as a cat. And I'm choosing to feature this because I wrote this for the class, for the yearbook.
Yeah, my parents just showered a lot of love and attention on me. It's me in my dress. I think I wore dresses a lot. I was quite vain because I took after my mom, I think. Yeah, she is quite vain. Yeah, so, and you know, since young I always had a special dressing table and stuff like that.
This is one of my best friends from poly. She was the one who actually first got me aware of Friday.com, and we went together to a party only because she wanted to meet more women and she wanted me to come along with her, and somehow that was when I met Sylvia. This is Ginger, my cat, when he was still small and could fit into the sink.
3 years ago, at this time I was going through this whole incredibly femme period. It's like famous on my life. And this one was also about 2 years ago, and it was right before I chopped all my hair off. Yeah, this was not long after I kind of like changed, but yeah, my friends just rolled with it. I got a lot of nice things that birthday. I got like this pair of Nike shoes, I got a Stussy bag, and then this t-shirt my parents actually bought for me. So I was really touched when my mom changed from buying spaghetti straps to like, normal, like, okay, I must say men's t-shirts, because I mean they're bigger and they're not so restrictive. My good friend's birthday, but it was a costume party, so she's like supposed to be Cleopatra and I'm supposed to be Tom Sawyer or something in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. This is my grandma and me on my first birthday, and I'm still very close to her, but she doesn't know that I'm gay. I don't know if I'll tell her yet. I went to a recent family gathering. It was my uncle's wedding, so I wore this shirt that didn't really look very manly or anything. It was okay, but it was a man's shirt. My grand auntie looked at me and then she was like horrified, and she said, "Why you wear this kind of clothes?" And then, "Oh yeah, so next time when you grow up and then you go to work must wear proper clothes already lah, huh?" And I told her, I'm already working actually. And she just didn't seem to hear me, you know, it's like selective listening. I got quite pissed off, so I just kind of like, okay, ended the conversation quite abruptly and went to talk with somebody else. At least my grandma doesn't give me that kind of, you know, crap, right? I mean, she will ask me from time to time, like, "So how, you got a boyfriend or not?" Then I just say, "No, don't have." Then she would just say, "Oh, okay," you know, but she doesn't pressure me and stuff. Not so long ago, like maybe a year ago, I mean, when my hair was like shorter than this, you know, you walk into a female toilet and everybody's like, "What's a man doing here?" It did make me feel awkward. In fact, I think there were times that it's like I would try to drag my girlfriend to the toilet with me just so that we can have a conversation, so that they can hear my voice and know that I'm a female. It's okay, I've never actually encountered anyone who glared at me or who was really hostile. It was just a kind of like shock. I suppose women are better. I guess after maybe a period of a few months, it just wore down. I got over that tremendous negative reaction. So in the next year, I got together with my first girlfriend. That was the first time I realized that I was lesbian. But I wouldn't say that I had totally accepted myself. I bore a lot of guilt and I think shame. I guess that's why I didn't dare to come out to anyone. I must have looked at myself as some kind of an inferior being, and I was afraid that if they knew, then oh no, you know, how can I reveal this like shameful thing about myself to people? And I guess this wasn't helped by the fact that my girlfriend and I were very worried about people finding us out. I actually felt guilty and everything for quite a few years.
People just probably assume. I think, of course, obviously I liked girls, I had girlfriends. I guess I was lesbian, you know, and it was just is. To family, I think it was through incidences in my life, maybe through a major breakup. They were very supportive, and I think it was just pretty natural way of them finding out. But it's really sweet because later on, the past few girlfriends that I had, after they knew, they were much more accepting. They in fact embraced them as like part of the family.
I tried coming out to my mom actually, just so that I could reach out to her. But before I knew it, I was telling her, and I was feeling all these feelings of guilt and shame, and I don't know how to tell you and everything. And I started crying even before I said anything. She said, "Are you trying to tell me that you think that you like women?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "You think that is normal? You think it's natural? You have to see a psychologist." And by this time I was just in a mess, okay? I was just like crying like mad. And eventually I kind of backed out of the situation. I said, okay, I think I'm making a serious mistake. I don't think I meant what I said. I don't think I'm gay lah. It was just a one-time thing that, I was physical with this girl who always came over to my house, who was actually my girlfriend at the time, and we had been together for like 1.5 years, and it's already my second relationship. So I mean, yeah, it was cowardly, but I backed out. That incident really shook me up, and it really made me wonder why. Why is it that I'm so weak? Like, I can't even stand up for myself. I have to lie about my relationship. I have to lie about myself. And I guess that was what really spurred me on to building my own self-esteem and thinking that, okay, even if my mom thinks that I'm a freak, I'm not going to let her make me feel small, or I'm not going to let her make me feel bad about myself.
I was one of the first that she told, so I saw like about a year later when she started really just coming out to everybody and just being very frank with everyone, and then I could see that she was much happier after that. We were together and she just said it a matter of factly, right? Yeah. Then I was like, okay. And didn't.
Were you shocked?
Not really. It's like nothing to be shocked at.
He sent me an SMS and said something like, glad that, very happy that you shared it with me, or something like that.
Something, yeah, I guess. Because I think you didn't tell a lot of people, right, at that point in time.
No.
Yeah. I'm quite dense at such things, so I think it took a while to sink in.
You told me that you were trying to, bring it to your parents. I don't think it was very surprising, in that it might have been possible. I could see that it might have been possible, but I guess it was up to you whether you wanted to tell me or not lah. So I mean, eventually you did. So like to sing, I mean, it was okay, that's cool and that's fine.
I don't know who told me. Someone else told me. And I remember my first reaction was, "Oh, she is. Oh, I didn't think she was. Oh, okay."
I cannot remember what I felt. I just really cannot remember. I probably told all my friends I think Amanda might be gay.
She thought it was gonna be a phase.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a phase.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a phase even when she was with Sylvia. And then after some time, maybe 6 months or so, and then Amanda used to come home, cry about Sylvia as though she was some guy that Amanda was like crazy over. Then I thought, that's it. She's not gonna come back. So, yeah, that was it.
What do you mean by come back?
Come back.
Never gonna come back.
So we can talk about sex. Like distinctly talk about all the details that I don't want to know at this point of time anymore.
I certainly think there are advantages to coming out, but I also think that it may not work for everybody. But I think the point to coming out is to achieve a certain level of honesty in your relationships. I mean, if you can't be honest, if you can't talk about the things that are happening in your life, the people who are important to you, then it would be detrimental to any relationship. I used to think that one should aspire to come out, and when I first started dating my girlfriend, I was aggressively trying to come out, and I was just planning when would be a good time to come out to this person, that person, how should I frame it. And I realized that I was doing it for myself. I was just trying to prove a point, and it wasn't because I wanted to achieve that level of honesty in my friendships. I was not taking the other person into account. It was just me. I've since tone down, and if I decide to come out to a certain person, it should be for a reason that would help the relationship in the long run.
I saw it as I was laying the ground for my next girlfriend, who I knew that I didn't want it my relationships, I guess I'm not a short-term relationship kind of person. When I get together with someone, I really want it to last. And I said, okay, but what about we go out? It was like 10 p.m. or something. And I said, why don't we go and drink teh alia? So we drove to the nearby 24-hour like Indian food shop. Then we were drinking our teh alia. Then I said, actually I've been wanting to tell you something for a very long time. And actually I blabbered on for quite a long time without getting to a point. Then finally I said it lah. I said, I like women. He was like, by that time he had stippled his fingers and like giving me the whole like, okay, I'm cool, I'm calm, I'm a rational man, I can be cool about this, I know about this modern world nowadays, kind of thing. Yeah, so he was okay.
She found out pretty late, yeah, but she did meet one of my ex-girlfriends whom she was quite fond of. But I don't think that... I think she still loved me at the end of the day. Yeah, I think for me, grandma will always be unconditional love. So, although I knew that maybe I may have been a slight disappointment to her, but she still loved me. Yeah. I think if you have a chance, like, to be able to share with people that are close to you, your friends or your family, it's important to be able to find, I think, what you call affirmation, acceptance. I think the moment when I realized my family knew, and when they were supportive, you go through life with a different kind of bearing. I think I may have kind of taken it for granted, I think reflecting back now, when you have them with you, you move through your life with a different bearing. You feel stronger. There's some roots for you. You know that, yeah, there are people there for you, and yeah.
My mom met my current girlfriend, but it wasn't under the best of circumstances. I was probably disadvantaged because it started out on a bad foot. So I've been struggling to reconcile that with her, and it's a little challenging because she's in a bit of denial, and I'm also at a point where sometimes I chicken out. I get a bit nervous as well because I feel like I don't know how she might take it. She probably still hopes for me to get married and things like that. So I've told her that I'm not interested in men, but I don't know how much of that she took in because she seems to be repeating that request more often now. So she probably isn't coming to terms with it.
I think about a year later or a year and a half later, I came out to her again, but this time I was in control of the situation, and I knew that even if she reacted badly, I would just say, you know what, if you have an issue with me being gay, that's your problem. I have to get on with my own life. I suppose if you could contrast the tone of the first coming out and the second coming out to my mom, the first one was more like a guilty confession, with me breaking down in tears and stuff. The second one was more like an informative, I'm letting you into my life, you can choose to accept it or not. In terms of telling her, giving her new information, I didn't really. Okay, I was busy with work. Actually, at that time, I was really hardly seeing my parents. I called my mom, and I made an appointment with her to have lunch near my workplace. I saw this place that sells conveyor belt vegetarian food. At the time she was vegetarian, so I knew that she would probably like the place. I said, okay, we'll have lunch, I'll treat you, after all, I'm working now. I chose that place because I wanted a neutral space that neither of us had a history with or a territory over. I guess the act of me saying that I wanted to treat her, it sends a message of yeah, I'm independent now, I'm grown up now. Yeah, and I guess it established the fact that I was the one who was in control. Thankfully, the second time I came out to her, she was okay about it. I mean, not really okay, but at least she didn't tell me that I had to see a psychologist. She just like, okay. I could see she was affected. It didn't just, it wasn't just nothing to her, but she was controlled as well. So that was okay.
I think as much as I don't understand my mom, I still feel the very strong need to make her proud of me and to do the things that she would approve of or feel proud of. She would be extremely disappointed if I told her, I don't think marriage works for me, I'm not going to get married to a man. I think she'll probably feel even more rejected and probably very disappointed. My colleagues goes to conferences in other countries. He meets up with all these NGOs and they probably shared the poster and he felt it was meaningful enough to be brought back. Actually, I'm the one who put it up here.
Right.
So he just gave it to me and I thought it was a wonderful poster. I mean, a lot of people when they come by, they see this and it just warrants them asking about it or at least thinking about it. This is my favorite poster. This is the latest addition to the corridor and it's from one of the South African NGOs that we are funding. They're called the AIDS Legal Network. And then the tagline, who have you discriminated against lately? I mean, every time I walk by this corridor, it just makes me think. Instead of always thinking that we are the victims, it could be perpetrators ourselves. I'm out to certain people in the office selectively. I think most of the time people don't have any reason to probe, but some of them, just come out in conversations and they have. And I come out when I feel it's the right time. But in my department, we're all out with each other. We're all very comfortable with our sexuality and we do talk about our partners, and when we have house gatherings and things like that, our partners are invited.
There have been occasions at work where I'd kind of try to lie low and not, especially those I would refer as cross-dressing times. I mean, yeah. There are times that I didn't want to make it obvious, but I think, I don't know, if it does come up, I'm not going to be afraid to just say who I am. I think once when I was going for a job interview, and this lady was being quite not very friendly, and I think based on what, on because I've got a lower voice or I look a little bit more masculine, does that make me do the job any less, competently as the other candidate? That was quite a bad experience. Although when I went for a job interview in London, I actually went in a pretty mannish suit, as opposed to that one. That one was pretty. I tried to actually be a bit more feminine already with makeup, So when I was in London, I went for this interview and it turned out well. It was with a gentleman, an English gentleman, and he said he was very impressed with my portfolio, and so I've had kind of mixed. In fact, during my 20s, when I was in the entertainment industry, I cross-dressed a lot at work. I wore shirts with ties, jackets. Didn't make me lose, or in fact, I had a lot of good accounts from clients, and yeah. I think that was a certain. I think it was in the industry, I guess. Now, obviously, I choose to work in environments where it's more accepting, or there's true tolerance. I think it's great when you can embrace your sexuality. I'm pretty out loud and proud, especially in the past during clubbing days and all. It's a badge here I kind of wear quite proudly. Yeah.
Her gothic face. Yeah. Really short hair, yeah. I'm actually quite amazed at how feminine Amanda looks now, because she's always been a bit more masculine than feminine, considering And somehow or another, she just slowly, decided to keep her hair long, and then put on more makeup and all that kind of, wear like flouncy dresses and stuff. Since young, she's always had short hair. I don't remember it ever being long. Just remember it looking dry, which it still does. Ouch.
When you found out you're a lesbian, right? I mean, do you decide that I want to be butch or I want to be femme?
When I first realized I was gay, I identified more with the male role. So because of that, as a male role in the sense that I wanted to protect. Yes. Yeah. And so I wanted that to appear, but with my first girlfriend, is like any hint of me appearing at, even remotely tomboyish, she'll just like go nuts. Kind of like, you want people to find out about us and blah 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 blah. So I had to actually make an effort to go the exact opposite way and appear very feminine and stuff.
Definitely you wore stuff which were much increasingly more boyish and clothes which didn't accentuate a particular feminine figure lah. It's almost synonymous with you were much more comfortable with yourself.
I think as a kid, because I wanted to be like my dad, who was quite absent in my life, I had great admiration for him. So when you watch telly and everything, you get these, I don't know, it was an active thing or unconscious thing, I'm not sure, but I would pick up on role models, male role models. It was like programming myself, watching gestures or things that I like, or clothes, or all this came very naturally for me. But of course, as you grow older, then you kind of evolve. I think in the late 70s, 80s, androgyny was not even, I think, something much thought about. But I think with the 90s and millennium, obviously, there's so many more references, and there's this openness, I think, to sexuality, different sexual orientations, and that's a good thing. Yeah.
It was not my goal to be taken as a man. I would correct them if they call me sir. I would say it's ma'am. I didn't see why, just because I wore men's clothes and I cut my hair short, that I must be trying to be a man. I'm not. If one day I woke up and I realized that I'm male, I would be really, really sad. I treasure being female. I treasure certain types of qualities that come along with being female. Like, you're probably more sensitive, your EQ might be higher, the ability to empathize with other people. Yeah, and I really appreciate those qualities, and if I were to lose them, I think that I will be a very different person. So even though I may appear like a man, I don't know, no way in hell would I want to give up my femaleness.
No, yeah, that's why if somebody like a gay friend or gay guy say, hey, abang, or say, call me a he, and I say, excuse me, it's a she, and then they're like, oh, okay. I think when I was younger, I may have, when I was doing probably my more butch days, I may have wanted to be more like a he and be passed off, so that, I don't know, I guess there was because there's this or that, right? My grandma would like to put me in a bareback dress. Come here, wear your bareback dress. And then when I was going out with guys, I tried to be the docile girly girl, but and then when I was working, I actually wore power skirt suits, heels, stockings, makeup, the full thing. And no, it wasn't too comfortable. Physically, I felt very bound, and I don't know, I didn't feel natural. I guess you could say I'm more a rough and tumble kind of girl in jeans and happy with a tank top.
I think the words lesbian and gay might be a bit intimidating for other people, but if you frame it as, women who love women, and I don't think anybody can fault love, I think it's positive and it's accurate.
People call me ultimate butch, dyke, androgynous later on. A lot of people say, oh, you look like Jenny Shimizu, you remind me of her. And she was a kind of role model for me, and kind of thought she was cool.
It's easy, you just go to any like lesbian website here and you will see the categories. There's butch, femme, andro. So butch is on one end, femme is on one end, andro is in the middle. Pure lesbian means you're feminine, you're a girly girl, and you like girls who look girly as well. I guess in the US it's called lipstick lesbian. These are the few main ones.
And I think nowadays they have a lot of very kinky sounding terms like carpet muncher and mouth divers, which I'd never heard before.
Oh, and there's no label. No label is a category too. People who refuse to belong to a category belong in a category. I guess it's a starting point for women who are coming out to themselves, trying to grapple with the idea of being lesbian. And the categories provide a neat template for them to fit into wherever they would like. I guess the butch femme thing is clearly modeled on the heterosexual relationship. Butch is the male, femme is the female.
Don't agree to labels, definitely, because it's hard to pigeon. I try to understand myself, and if I involve myself with different kind of people, how am I polysexual?
I think for my journey, I think I started out somewhere in the andro region until one day I was told that I was more like a butch. Then I kind of began seeing myself more in the butch kind of area, and then now I don't know where I am,
I don't think I identify with any one of them, especially butch and femme. Sometimes I feel butch, sometimes I feel femme.
It gets very convoluted and it's just jumping from label to label, and I can't find the right one that fits me.
For me, I feel that the role that you play in a relationship and your appearance is different. Whatever you want to call me, if you want to call me butch, I'm fine with it. I don't have to look butch to be butch. In a relationship with two women, no one is really femme all the time and no one is really butch all the time. It's give and take.
It's probably easier to look at me and say I'm femme, but people who know me, they'll never call me femme. It's okay. It doesn't bother me.
Eventually, the categories become extra, it doesn't define you.
I didn't think I would ever dare to do it.
She moaned and groaned in pain. Ow, 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 ow. It's quite amazing she actually went through the whole thing. Threshold of pain is like 0.
It's a birthday present to myself when I turned
21.
21. So cliche. And also because I was going through a lot of things that I felt would mark the period appropriately.
For example,
it was with Sylvia. Then after we broke up for 1 month, right? And after 1 month when we got back together, I think a lot of things had settled for me by then. I took the 1 month I went to church. I took God to take her away if she wasn't right for me. And we got back together. And it felt at that point in time that I had thought through and rationalized and had calmed down enough to think about things properly, and I realized I still wanted the relationship. Emotionally and everything, I felt that was the point in time I wanted to mark that I had the strength to go through all of that, and which means I'll have the strength to go through whatever comes ahead. So of course my tattoo means strength in Greek. When I was in school in poly, I actually got much closer to the church, and I would used to go to church with my mom. At the end of each session, there would be a box right at the back of the church where you could drop your questions, and the priest would answer your question the following week. So at that point in time, I got to know my friend, and she introduced me to some friend of hers who were bloggers, and they were lesbians, and I just met them. I mean, no judgments, and they were just warm. They were really warm, and they invited me to their house. You know, so it just got me thinking, you know, she's a wonderful person, and she's a lesbian, and she used to be Catholic. So I started thinking about the whole thing, and then I dropped a question on being gay and how the church views that, and whether there's any reconciling at all. I don't remember his answer specifically, but I remember being quite disappointed because it was quite judgmental. I mean, if you go to a person and you talk about someone you know, someone you care about, and their answer is, you know, it's wrong, you know, they should stop it, or something like that, you know, it's not humane. But anyway, I read out on my own. I surfed on the internet, and at the end of it, you know, I just looked within myself and thought, if God is love, and if the reason why I'm in this relationship is because of love, then maybe that is reconciling it.
Being in a convent school, we went for mass. The most heavenly sight I ever saw was looking down at the school church, and it was like daybreak. Everything was dark still, and there was white light coming out, and you could see the nuns inside. Yeah, I had all the Catholic upbringing, went to church, used to sing in the choir. Then I went on to secondary, which was a period where I was exploring with my Muslim girlfriend about Islam. In college, I was more active with church again, and that went kind of weird because it was actually someone was like my godmother. She was, you know, minding me or taking care of me. I was actually staying with her, and somehow, because we always sleep together and all that, and something happened. Not really, but something did kind of happen, so it felt very strange, and then I kind of stopped church again. The time that church I was going was very political for me.
I think one of the more important things about how people take homosexuality, at least from my own personal experience, is whether the person is very religious. I had like other male friends who, told me that they're gay, and then they said like, oh, you know, I thought I could tell you because I didn't think you go to church. They'll talk about like the pressures from home, and like, because, you know, their parents are very staunch Christians, and, you know, they just kind of set the fact that they're gay lah.
One of the Jasmines, right? I recall, because we were talking about the issue of homosexuality in class, we have this online discussion board. So she actually posted something like, to her, she feels that it's a very sad thing. She doesn't hate these people, but for example, her friend, now he's going through a very tough time because he wants to change, and she admires him for wanting to change, or something like that. She tied it to like his whole childhood of his child abuse, stuff like that, physical abuse. So one day I happened to be in school. She just was stopping by the bench that I was sitting at. Then I said, but well, I guess I just want to say that I don't think that all gay people are like that, you know. There are many of us who are really, really happy people who had very happy childhoods like me, and it's not necessarily related lah. Then she just said, oh, okay. And, you know, she took it very well. Sometimes, you know, people really surprise you. You just never know until you try.
Through all the difficult times, I have to say that I know for sure that God was always there at the point break, you know. When I prayed, He always helped me.
I had a big argument about this last night. I told Amanda, there is no reconciling. It's two different things. I am still on a discovery process of what exactly the church wants of us and a lot of the history behind it. They're of course against homosexuality in general, and very, very against it. And but at the same time, the church also tells you not to judge. You know, that is a very important point. And I basically follow the church in the point that it is wrong. You know, because if they say it's wrong, it's my faith to believe it's wrong. But this is my best friend, you know, and it doesn't change whatever it is she is, you know. If she is lesbian, then so be it, you know. I will not change whatever I feel for her, or, you know, it's two different entities in my opinion. There is no reconciling. We believe in purgatory, and we believe in the fact that if you repent for your sins, and if you have love in your heart, you will have to face the consequences, but you will in the end go to heaven. And I just recently read a book about this woman who sees souls in purgatory, and she said that they asked the question about homosexuality and how much, and are these people going to hell, and she said no, but they have a lot to suffer for. It's just one of the things you just think about, you know. And but you have no right to judge, so you don't. You just take everybody as who they are, you know. So I do not see the word reconcile anywhere. That's how I feel.
I don't know if I can deal with the no reconciling.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe I'm still trying. Yeah. I mean, if God is love, then love is love.
I can't say anything because everything I say would be against what you say, so I'm not going to.
For me, I think, I mean, it's been said in churches, it's your walk with God. At the end of the day, it's you and God. He's there everywhere with you. If you do something wrong, you know it, He knows it, and who else can you lie to but Him and yourself? You know, so I don't define my religion by going to church, because I've seen a lot of things in church that I don't believe in, but I believe in doing good to people, things like that. I think that for me is how I define my relationship with God. Yeah.
I think not only gay people can choose, I think everyone can choose who they want to be with. And I mean, there are straight people who have had sex with people of the same gender. This is not just a question of how you classify people, because that's very restrictive, and then you stereotype people into this, you're either here or there, when actually it might just be a continuum. It's not just declaring whether you're gay. Sometimes you might just experiment. Some people might experiment, some might not. So I mean, it's just a personal choice whether you even want to go and try what's out there.
It's a non-choice. It's a choice of doing what makes you most happy, or settling for second best, or if maybe not even second best, you know. So what kind of a choice is that? And if society thinks that it's improper of me to go with what makes me the most happy, then they say something is wrong.
Everybody has a choice. Okay, sexual orientation is what you are. You cannot change it, but you have a choice of whether you want to get into it or not.
So if I hadn't gone to poly and I hadn't met Joe, and I hadn't gone to school and meet Sylvia,
I probably would have. I don't know.
a sad and lonely life.
Yeah. Probably.
That's a vote of confidence from a best friend.
What about legally?
Oh, legal? Yeah, I mean that's a problem, but maybe you need like to advocate it in the right sort of way. At the end of the day, if you end up clashing, it's not going to do any good.
If you want it to be more legally accepted, I think you have to wait for society itself to have more general acceptance already. And to have that kind of acceptance, I think it's very important for gay people to first present themselves normally. Not that they have to dress like everyone else or anything like that, but they have to make it such that they don't always approach it with fear. Sometimes maybe you fear that other people fear, or that they won't accept you, and then you act in a different way, which makes things very difficult. You also have to approach it the right way when you tell people or you approach people, especially if you know that they have reservations about it. Because I feel that although some people have reservations, when they finally know a gay person, or when they meet someone who's gay and they know them personally, I think acceptance starts to develop. I think over time, because you interact with people, you talk to people about it, and the issues out there and everything, people will slowly accept it.
Singaporeans value subtleties, so you shouldn't try to parade your rights or even try to fight for gay rights. I'm not saying there are things that gays are not entitled to, but I think that if you go for a softer approach, people are probably more willing to hear you out, and it's just kind of like gentle negotiations. You can fight for what you want, but you can't do it like the American way, like going for gay marches or having Mardi Gras, because there are people out there who are homophobic, and being a minority, I think it's just about playing smart lah.
I feel that at least in Singapore, we can't really hope for the whole idealistic government that will say no matter what people feel, in principle we should all have equal rights, so therefore you all have your rights, and then leave it to the people to just fight it out among themselves.
I don't know whether the majority will support or not. Like everyone has their own opinion. For me, Su-Lin has been like one of the first and closest friends who are gay. Like throughout the whole process, when she first told me, then she broke it to more friends, and then later to her family. It wasn't that easy. Like there were problems along the way. She did share with some of us. I could feel for her. We could understand what she was going through. And her parents became okay with it. I was happy for her. Through her, I learned a bit more. So I would say that it was because of her I became more comfortable with the whole issue. Yeah.
Okay, let me debunk some of the common misconceptions about lesbian love. It's not just two women being very docile at home, doing things like baking cookies together, going to the supermarket together, and generally being very domestic, but also, having high-flying careers. That's easy to imagine, but people often leave out the whole emotional and incredible sexual aspect of it. It's not just like, what, you think? I mean, you don't just go to bed and you just lie there like a rock, right? I mean, that's for some straight relationships. That's not for lesbian relationships. I mean, to be serious, I think sex is important. After all, most people don't know they're lesbian until they have sex. So in a sense, you are defined by the kind of sexual attraction that you have for a woman. So lesbian love is messy. It can be very emotional. To me, lesbian relationships aren't like straight relationships because of the level of intensity of emotions. I mean, of course, I can't, with this sentence like sweep over the entire lesbian population. But I would think that in general, it's quite different from straight relationships.
When I was young, I think all those positive, pleasurable experiences probably gave birth to this whole new journey with women. It's been beautiful, heartrending, but always very full, I think, and fulfilling. There's something very tender about it. Yeah, you get to share a lot of stuff. It's like your other self, a mirror unto yourself, and it's like second skin.
The first relationship, it's a lot of self-discovery. Yeah, I think it's made me grow in a lot of ways. made me question a lot of things, reflect on a lot of things, not take a lot of things for granted.
She probably now, after being in a relationship for 2 years, close, knows how much of a sacrifice it can be, how much pain is involved, how much accepting the person for who they are instead of wanting them to be someone else is like, because probably that is love. Yeah. She has, I guess, morphed into another half of a person.
Like when I had bad series of bad relationships and I said, okay, this is it. I don't even want to be involved with somebody else. I kind of clammed up, and in a way that wasn't really healthy, but I think that was something that I should have done from the very start, and that is to be with yourself and to find out what you're really about, what interests you have, and what defines you, as opposed to always constantly being affected by the relationships and the relationships shaping your life, what your outcome is, possibly influencing your relationships with other people at work. It was a very painful and tough a journey that I took, and something that I don't wish for anyone to have, but obviously sometimes we just have to go through it. Be your own father, be your own mother to yourself. You must be able to treat yourself, all those things, and then I guess you'll be able. It's true, so many people told me when I was growing up, if only you love yourself, then everything will work out alright. And I kind of, no, I just went headlong, and I didn't think about it. I didn't what self-love. I wasn't quite sure as I was growing up. So yeah,
Hope it'll be much more accepted for people to bring their same-sex partners to things like wedding dinners, company dinner and dances. I think at this point in time, probably a lot of people, that would be like the last thing they would dare to do. I think if people dared to step up to that, it would be really powerful, the impact. Of course, I admit there could be career repercussions, but I think all of us have to be a little braver and be a little more responsible.
I believe that it's important to give lesbians a face, especially a positive face. It's so difficult for us to see positive representations of ourselves anywhere. You turn on the TV, I think the only butch person you'll see is probably, I think I saw like some criminal peddling pirated VCDs. Lesbian women are portrayed as criminal or sick of some kind, and here I am. Look at me. Do I look sick to you? Okay, I don't know, but I'm a happy, confident, pretty fulfilled person. I know where my life is going. I'm in control of my life. I'm supported by my friends and family. I have a good job. I'm out at work. My colleagues are supportive. I have a wonderful girlfriend. People like me, I think they're everywhere. But the only problem is that so many of us are in the closet. Until we come out and we have the guts to say that, look, we are here, all these successful, happy, fulfilled and normal women will be seen by the straight world as being straight. Why should the government change? Why should anything change? I guess I would like to see more people like myself, and together we can create a reason why society should be more accepting, why the laws should be more accepting.
You could choose a pale blue sky, sing your life like a lullaby, set it up so it'll never fail, but I know what choose a common world. Live your life like every other girl. Fly a flag of red and white, but I know what turns you on. I know angels turn you on. Make your mind up, make it better, baby, time to come on home. Take a moment, tell your story, this time make it your own. And if you keep it quiet, well baby, know the way that you can. Oh, won't you search your heart and tell me what you're seeing, does it make you scared? Or wanna tell somebody that angels turn you on? Think of all the girls and boys, of roses, love and valentines, promises you made that never seemed to mean a thing. Everlasting fairy tales, some bona fide, some never real. How it never seemed to right to be wearing someone's ring. Make your mind up, make it better, baby, time to come on home. Take a moment, tell your story, this time make it your own. And if you keep it quiet, well baby, know the way that you can. Oh, won't you search your heart and tell me what you're seeing, does it make you scared? Or wanna tell somebody that angels turn you on? You could choose a pale blue sky, live your life like a lullaby. Set it up so it'll never fail, but I know what turns you on.